When I was about 8 years old, I was having a conversation with my brother, and he said that he wanted to learn everything because he wanted to know everything. And I said I wanted to see everything and go everywhere. Welcome in, I'm Kimberly. This is Pretty Over 50, where we talk everything beauty, fitness, and lifestyle for the over 50 woman. I'm so glad you stopped by today. I have a fun video for you. If you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing and make sure you click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And if you want all the good stuff, you might want to think about signing up for my Sunday morning email newsletter. The link is in the description box down below. Every Sunday morning, clearly, because it's the Sunday morning email newsletter, I send out a short, sweet email featuring all the cool things I found throughout the week. If it's a piece of information or a great sale or something that I bought and loved, I kind of list it in that email. It's short, it's sweet, it's totally free. I think you're gonna love it. You can join just by clicking the link down below. When my girls grew up and flew the coop, which I'm still not over. It is so funny that we raise kids and fall in love with them, and our entire job is teaching them to live without us. So my girls flew the coop, and I had gotten into kayaking at that juncture. I was in my early 50-ishes age and had been living in the Sacramento Valley area of California and was continually driving up to Lake Tahoe in order to kayak. Well, I got smart and decided that I would rent just a little like mother-in-law apartment in one of the homes there in Incline Village, which is where I kayaked out of, so that I could stay over when I had a long day of kayaking, or I could have a couple of days in a row or something like that. So once the girls flew the coop and I had that little place up in Tahoe, I would go up and come back home and go up and come back home. And all of a sudden I thought, why am I coming back home? There really wasn't anything in the valley anymore that I was really attached to. Everything that I loved was up at the lake. So I closed down my place in Sacramento and I moved on up to Lake Tahoe. And that was kind of the start of my adventure life. I had wanted to adventure all my life, and I used to beg my mother, please, can we move? Can we move somewhere new? Do something new, live somewhere new. And she would never fall for it. And by golly, I ended up graduating from high school with the kids I went to kindergarten with. We were in that house for good for all of my growing up years. So when the girls left and I raised them in the same town that I grew up in, I really realized that I had an opportunity. I had been divorced for quite a while. I was living alone. I was footloose and fancy free. I worked for myself out of my house, so I had a lot of freedom, and by golly, I moved on up to Lake Tahoe. Well, come the first winter up there, and I'm looking at the snow and I'm thinking, yeah, I love to snowshoe. I don't ski, but what am I going to do all winter long? I can only snowshoe a few times and have fun doing it. That's when I decided that I would go to Florence for a couple of months, and I did exactly that. I closed my place down at the lake, kept all my stuff there, and I lived in Florence for 2 months and absolutely had a ball. I'm not kidding you. I just had the best time. And that was really the beginning of me traveling a lot as an older person whose kids had flown the coop. So it was just me. From Lake Tahoe, I ended up moving to the Portland, Oregon area and lived in a little town called Lake Oswego for about a year. From Lake Oswego, I decided that what I wanted to do was travel full time for at least a year or two. Got together all the plans for that, and I took off from Lake Oswego and flew to Mexico, and I lived in a little town called Tulum, which is on the Caribbean side of Mexico, and I lived there for about 4 or 5 months, maybe 6 months. I can't even really remember now. Tulum is a lovely town. I loved it there. It's very beachy, very tropical, beautiful, incredible beaches, gorgeous ocean, you know, the bathtub water kind of ocean. Had a great time. From Tulum, I traveled down to Cuenca, Ecuador. Huge expat community there, and I lived in Cuenca for about 6 months. I had a fabulous time in Cuenca too. I have loved every single place that I have lived. From Cuenca, I went back up to Mexico and lived in San Miguel de Allende, again for about 5 or 6 months. I had a fabulous time. I had so many fun friends there in San Miguel. Haielle, and I actually rented a house there. It was a 2-story home with a patio up top for $400 a month. I am not kidding you. And I thought that I was going to end up continuing to rent that house forever because the girls could go down, I could go down. It could be our little vacation place in San Miguel de Allende. Well, when I left, I ended up giving up the lease for that place, so I didn't end up keeping it as a rental that the girls and I could use. From San Miguel de Allende, I made a quick stop in Texas on the border, had a nice time there, and where I went next was a little town called Whitefish in Montana. So I literally went from Mexico, warm beaches, Ecuador, kind of, warmer climate, to a snow-covered state, Montana, and I lived in Whitefish for, I think probably close to 2 years. I love Whitefish. It is the sweetest, cutest little Montana town, just like, the 1950s in the US. Kids leave their bikes out on the front lawn, nobody steals them, everybody's warm and friendly. It's really a small town atmosphere in Whitefish. I loved it. It is very snowy there. I'm telling you what, it is snowy for a number of months throughout the year and more than just half the year. One of the cool things about Whitefish and why I chose it is that it's very, very near to one of my favorite state parks, Glacier National Park. It is absolutely probably my favorite state park that I've been to, and I was able to go and hike in Glacier, be in the beauty of Montana, and I just really had a wonderful time in Montana. After Montana, I think I got done with the snow. I moved to a tiny little town up on the Northern California coast called Mendocino. And I actually lived in a little adjacent town called Casper. Honestly, Casper has about 150 residents. I mean, it's really, really tiny. And I was able to get the coolest little studio apartment that overlooked the ocean on the coast of Northern California. It was a lovely time there. And I was there for a little more than a year and a half. From Casper, from the Northern California coast, I decided that I was really missing Lake Tahoe and I really wanted to go back. So I moved from the Northern California coast to the south side of Reno. The reason I moved to the south side of Reno is I could get up and over the hill to Lake Tahoe to kayak in like 25 minutes. Really, from my car being parked in Reno to unloading my kayak at the beach in Lake Tahoe was about 25 minutes. I had a great time living there. I met so many wonderful friends. That's where I had the hiking club. That hiking club is still in existence. I have a friend that took it over, and I think there's like 1,400 members now. And I started it about, 3 or 4 months after I moved to Reno because I wanted to get out and do some stuff. It was during the kerfluffle, and so I wanted to find people who still wanted to do outdoor things together, and we built a beautiful hiking club. I was in the Reno area in that particular apartment, which I loved, for about, I think, 2 years. And from there, that's when I moved to Aiken, South Carolina. Why did I move? Well, for me, it was kind of just looking for a different type of environment, looking for something new, and clearly by now you can see that I love to travel and I love to see new things. So I moved to Aiken, and you guys probably, if you've been following me for a while now, are familiar with my journey in Aiken. I've had so many of you ask me, why did you leave Aiken? It seemed so wonderful, and it was. I love Aiken. It is the sweetest little town. And if you're looking for a small town environment that's safe and pretty with a beautiful downtown and just the friendliest people, I can tell you Aiken is an absolute gem in the South. It is gorgeous, it's beautiful, it's friendly, it's safe. I have nothing but great things to say about Aiken. And now your next question might be, why did you leave? And I'll tell you, that's pretty much what I do. I move around. It's what I enjoy doing. I love seeing new things, experiencing the weather in different places, seeing what the outdoor activities are there, what the landscape looks like, what the towns are like. That is really fun and exciting for me. Why I left Aiken really isn't the fact that I left Aiken, it was that I came to this area of Florida. I had been interested in Florida for a while, and when I found out how active the community that I'm in now was, I just about was over the moon. One of the things that was missing for me about Aiken were the outdoor activities. And I know there's a ton of outdoor activities in South Carolina, maybe not so much in the area I was in, and I just had the hardest time finding close outdoor activities. I am an outdoor girl. If I could live outdoors most of the time and just come in to sleep, that's what I would do. I love being outside. And when I came down here and visited the villages, what I saw were people my age jogging, running, cycling, playing tennis, playing outdoor sports, kayaking, boating, this and that. I mean, just the activities are crazy here, the number of activities and choices. In addition, after I came here, I realized I knew a little bit, but it really came home how much kayaking there is with the springs in this area of Florida. Some of the best paddles in the entire state are within an hour of my house, which is thrilling for me because I get a chance now to really get to know kayaking in this portion of Florida, and the state is so big and there's so much to do outdoors that I have so very many choices, which I absolutely love. Since I've come here, I've taken water aerobics, I swim laps in the evening, I weight trained at the gym, I take yoga. I just went to yoga this morning. I've kayaked, I've hiked. There are so many activities to do here, which is very, very exciting for me because that's what I love to do. So when you ask me, why did you leave Aiken? It wasn't so much that I left Aiken. I saw Aiken, I got to know the town. I was able to fluff up the house that I lived in for a little while, do a little bit of landscaping, which I love. And then it was just time for the next adventure. How long will I be here in Florida in this particular place? I don't know. Right now, I'm saying I'm never leaving because that's how happy I am here and how much I am loving all the choices I have to do wonderful things with my time, to be outdoors, to be physical, to be active, to meet new people. Really, I'm in the honeymoon phase right now. I don't know how long I'll be here. I do really enjoy it. Maybe I'll be here for a while. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. When we were at the meet and greet, we were talking to a couple of lovely ladies from Homosassa, and Lori and I were trying to remember their names, and we can't, but you guys know who you are. A couple of gorgeous women, and they told us about the Webster flea market. And of course, it took us exactly 2 days to come out here and check it out. This is supposed to be the largest flea market in Florida or this part of Florida or something. We're gonna walk up and down, see if we find any cool stuff. I'm actually looking for a few home decor items and some artwork. We'll see what happens. There's also fruits and vegetables here, so lots to see. I'll take you guys along with us.
We could join the group, the baton twirlers.
You're not twirling.
Tell her how to do it right.
That's not right. This is 3, 5, 4-year-old stuff you're doing.
Oh, come on.
Okay, come here.
Hey!
That's better.
What's up?
You gotta use your fingers, right?
Huh?
Oh, I haven't done it in a while. But this is
Oh, I
what we do
remember
when
doing
we're
that.
5 years old.
Well, and that's how old I was when I was doing it.
You learned it! Wow!
This flea market is really huge. It goes from building to building, and there's really no rhyme or reason. It almost looks like they built up part of it, and then it got popular, and they just kept building on and on and on. So I don't know that you could do it in any logical order, but we decided that we're just going to keep poking around, until we get tired of that. Look, this lady has a pig as a pet. Isn't that cute? They're just walking together. I'm taking home one of the orchids. I couldn't resist. You guys think I'm gonna get it to grow again? We'll see. It's gonna look pretty on the patio though, don't you think? This is my haul from the swap meet. Gosh, that was so much fun. There is so much stuff there. I don't think we even covered, 30% of what's at that swap meet. It was really, really fun and really, really full. The first thing I got was this little container. It's metal and very, very patinaed. And somebody had drilled some holes in the bottom, so that makes it perfect for a plant pot for me. I'm gonna go ahead and put this out on the back patio on one of the little plant areas I have there. And then I picked up this iron. I think it's an old iron. Anyway, I'm going to use that for a doorstop in an area where I've been using one of my free weights for a doorstop. So this definitely will look a lot better than that. These two together were $7. I think this was $2 and this was $5. And then this little peacock bird, there were 2 of these and they were 2 for $12. And Lori and I each got one. They came as a set. And I'm gonna put one in my house and she's gonna put one in her house. We thought that would just be a fun thing that each one of us has one of these birds. And then I also got this beautiful white orchid. There's Dex, of course. This white orchid was $8. So I picked that up. I have never been able to get an orchid to keep producing blooms. But I'm hoping this time it's going to be different because I live in a very humid, warm climate. So hopefully it's going to work out. We'll see. I'm going to go ahead and place these around the house and add them to my collections. About 2 months into my fitness journey, which would have been February of this year, I got it in my head that I wanted to do a body composition test. A body composition test shows you how much lean muscle mass you have compared to fat mass and water and that sort of thing on your body. I did a little research and I found a company called InBody that actually sells sort of a scale looking thing, like a scale that you step on. And a lot of nutritionist office and gyms and fitness centers will have those in their centers in order for their customers and other people to check their body composition. Now, what's the important part of getting your body composition checked? It really just shows what your lean muscle mass is to your fat mass. And I thought that that would be a good piece of information. So I found an InBody center near where I was living when I was in Aiken, South Carolina, and went and had it done. Now, depending on who you talk to, some people will say that it's a very accurate way to check your body index. Some people will say it's not that accurate, that people like professional bodybuilders or who have unusual body composition, it's not as accurate for. But I think across the board, there is a general consensus that getting this done is valuable information. So I went and got mine done just because I really wanted to know where I was at and what I was starting with. Even 2 months in, I just felt like I was still just starting. So this is what I got when I went in February. It is the beginning of June now. This is my February in-body composition. And I was 168 pounds then. I think I'm about 10 or 11 pounds down from that now. And my body mass index was 27.1. And what that BMI is it tells you the percentage of body fat that you have on your body. Now, what does that number really mean? And I wrote it down. If you have a BMI below 18.5, they would consider that underweight. These numbers that I wrote down don't really reference male or female or a body mass that is more muscular naturally than not muscular naturally, if that makes any sense. So below 18.5 would be underweight. I think there are a lot of really fit men who are much lower than that, and they're great. They're definitely not underweight. They look fabulous. 18.5 to 24.9 is normal. Now I was 27.1. So 25 to 29.9 is considered overweight. And again, these are broad categories. Over 30 is considered obese. Although I don't think this is incredibly accurate for all body types, I do think it's a good kind of working information packet that you can then understand how your body composition is really working. I recently found out that the gym that I belong to has an in-body system at the gym. So I made an appointment for today to get my scan done, and this will be 4 months later. So this was in February. It is now the 1st of June. So every March, April, May, June. So it's 4 months later, and I'm going to get my body mass index or my body composition done. This whole sheet shows a lot of different markers, not just body fat. It shows your lean muscle mass, your skeletal mass, the water retention in your body, a lot of different information. And I'm going to try to have the trainer that's going to do my in-body scan today explain a little bit more about what these numbers mean. I think it's interesting because now I'm going to be able to see if my weight training, my attempt to gain more muscle mass and thereby burn more fat on my body, become leaner and stronger, is really having an impact. It could be a disastrous result. I just don't know. So this morning I have it scheduled. I'm going to head over to the gym now. I've got a yoga class first, and then I'm going to meet with the trainer for my in-body scan. Yoga class was so good. And the teacher had the best playlist. Vintage Jackson Brown, Van Morrison, Fleetwood Mac, Elton John, James Taylor. Truly sounds of our youth, at least sound of my youth. Now I am going to look for Johnny, who is my personal trainer that's going to help me do the body scan. I'm kind of curious to see how this comes out. This is what the in-body machine looks like. It looks just like a big old scale that you would see in the doctor's office. And this one looks exactly like the one at the other facility that I use. So you stand on this with bare feet, it reads out, and then it prints out your report right over here.
Good morning, how are you?
Great.
Good.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's been a busy morning, running hard, but we're ready. Good to go. So, I got some notes in the system. You're interested in an in-body and your personal fitness assessment, correct?
Yeah, I did this about 4 months ago.
Okay.
I've been on a fitness journey on my channel.
Cool.
Been documenting it. It's been frustrating because I'm old. And then I just want to compare today's results to the results I got 4 months ago at another in-body center.
Okay, absolutely, yeah, we'll do that, no problem. There's a good chance your former in-body may be stored in the system. I'm not sure if it does all in-bodies, but we may be able to pull the old one up too. So that could be cool. Great. Right on. Well, let's get that going right off the bat, and then we'll talk about that and finish the rest of the session. I have 2 daughters, and we have been painting my toenails for about 10 years now, and it just stays going. Yeah, we have a ton of fun with it. They picked that for spring and re-ran it for summer. So we're gonna make those elbows straight, arms just off the body. Very good. It runs a very mild electrical current from point to point, gauging resistance, which indicates what's in the middle there, whether it's bone, muscle, or fat, or water. There's each body part in the trunk. All right, we are done. You can step off, let go of those handles. I'll put all this back together while it prints. Some of our biggest numbers we're looking at, right? Weight, body fat mass, and lean body mass.
Okay.
These numbers added together equal that one. That means we're on the right track, right? So some of our highlights for this one, right? Again, we're gonna look at weight, skeletal muscle mass, body fat mass, and more importantly, our body fat percentage.
Okay.
It did not, these are all individually stored, I guess. So it's not like a network-wide of in-body results. So you may have to compare two papers side by side to see progress. But the things you're gonna look for most, your markers you're looking for, right? Your body fat percentage, body fat mass, those should trend downward. And then more importantly, that skeletal muscle mass, if we're working right, we're strength training, we're resistance training, that number should go up as well.
Okay.
Right, so as we're building muscle, nothing burns fat better than more muscle. So on that fitness journey, as we're building strength, we're good. One thing I like to highlight, this is our average across the board, all right? So good news is, you're hitting a lot of those marks really well, right? Even your weight, you're a tick above. I see people in here down at this end sometimes, so you're in a great spot there. Skeletal muscle mass, right? I mean, couldn't be more dead nuts middle, right? You are well in the average range for your skeletal muscle mass. Body fat mass, again, a tiny little bit over what they consider average for height, age, everything else. But again, nothing I'm really concerned with looking at you, talking to you right now. Body fat percentage, I don't know what it was before, but I would again assume we're trending downward. You're right here on the cusp of that average range as well. And then here I like to look at these numbers just to sort of acknowledge some potential deficiencies. Again, we've got our right arm and left arm. The actual pounds of muscle per arm, very similar. You're off by 0.04 pounds.
So this is the actual pound of muscle?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. That's what that gauges, is the pounds of muscle in that particular appendage, right? So we've got right arm, left arm. Again, almost dead on. That's about as close as I've seen them. So you're good there. Legs, same thing. We're off by exactly 1/4 of a pound. Not a big deal there either.
I bet my right leg is stronger than my left.
Probably. That's what most people, that's their lead leg. When they go, they generate that extra little bit of production, which translates to more muscle. Not a problem there at all. And then our trunk, armpits to hips, all the way around, you've got right at 46.6 pounds of muscle right there in the middle. That's kind of, again, if we look here, you're right on the high edge of average, which is great. Right? That's an average we don't mind being above because it's muscle.
Right.
So I love that number. As we get older, especially our core tends to sort of deteriorate a little bit. It's a little harder, right? I'm right there with you. I'm right behind you, I promise. So there, it's good to maintain that number and really work on that. That includes things like our abs, our transverse abs, which is that nice corset muscle behind everything. And even those spinal erectors and everything else, those are muscles. Everything we do to flex and extend, all muscles, we need to make sure they're strong, maintain those. And that number being there, I'm A-okay with that. I think we're looking pretty solid.
Okay. Now, what about BMI? That seems to be like, what's your BMI?
Yes.
Is that kind of an old news kind of number?
I am not a huge fan of BMI. Maybe I take it personally because my BMI registers me as obese, just because I'm 5'9" and 200 pounds. So it takes into account height and weight, and that's really the most generic form of BMI.
So because you have so much muscle mass for your height,
correct.
They're not reading it
I pop up as obese. Now there are ways to measure BMI, which this is probably a little bit more accurate, being on the in-body. But again, even then, its two biggest markers are how tall are you, how much do you weigh.
Interesting.
So I'm not a huge fan of BMI.
So you would go by this body fat mass.
Most importantly, probably would be my body fat percentage.
Okay.
That's huge to me, right? If my body fat mass stayed exactly the same, but I packed on a ton of skeletal muscle mass, which is what we're looking for as a positive indicator of strength production, right? That number, if it goes way up here and that number stays exactly the same, this number is still going to reflect down, which is what we're looking for, right? If I weighed 250 pounds of solid muscle and my percentage was 0, I'd be dead, right? But if I weighed 200 pounds, 250 pounds, and 50 of that was fat, I'd still have that 200 pounds of muscle. I'm still in a pretty good spot, right? So that number is what's going to indicate that percentage. Yeah, I'm a big fan of body fat percentage, more so than pounds of. This is an easy number to look at, like I need to lose 5 pounds.
Okay.
But what happens is oftentimes we gain skeletal muscle mass as we're strength training and resistance training. That's going to make this number go down even if that number stays the same.
Right.
So your weight, again, I'm not a huge fan of weight as a metric. I used to wrestle in high school, a little bit after that. Weight was always a huge deal to me. I 3% body fat at one point, and I still felt too heavy because I was weighing in a little heavy sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't love that number now as a full-grown adult who knows what's going on, but that number, that's the one I look for most.
Okay.
So, cool.
Great.
Right on.
All right. Awesome.
So here are the results of my in-body scan between the one that I did in February. Let me double check. It was February 15th and today is June 9th. So almost 4 months. So February, March, April, May, June. So is that 4 months? 4 months or 5 months, you guys can figure it out there. So the one I did in February, I weighed 168 pounds. My body fat mass was 62.4. The one I just did today, I weigh 156 pounds. So I've lost 12 pounds of body weight and my body fat mass is 52.6. So I've gone down 12 pounds from 168 to 156 and my body fat mass has decreased from 62.4 to 52.6. At least I'm going in the right direction, I'll tell you what. So the BMI, which Johnny, the fitness trainer, said he doesn't really pay much attention to because you could see him, he's totally fit. I'm not sure what his height is, I'm not sure what his weight is, but because he's not tall, but he has a lot of muscle mass, he comes up as obese on the BMI calculator, so I can see how ineffective or unclear that number can be. What he considers to be the most important number is the percent of body fat. The last one back in February, my body fat mass was 37%. The one I just did today, my body fat mass is 33.7%. So it does look like I'm going in the right direction. If you're interested in getting one of these in-body scans, you can do what I did. Just Google it, look for one in your area. I'm pretty sure they have a website with one of those little search bars where you can type in your zip code and it'll show you the ones around you. It generally runs around $50 or $60. I didn't have to pay for mine today because it kind of came with an initial meeting with a fitness trainer when I joined the club, and so I just used it for this in-body. It is a fun way to look under the hood and figure out what's really going on with your body. I'm probably going to do another one in maybe 4 or 5 months, and I'll keep you guys posted on how that one comes out. But for right now, I'm pretty tickled. At least I'm going in the right direction. I have some new things for us to try today. The new Say Tinted Moisturizer. Gosh, I'm really loving this, and I thought you guys would like to see how pretty it looks on the skin. I have some new makeup products from Sigma. This is a blush, highlighter, and bronzer set. I haven't tried these at all. I haven't even swatched them, so we'll see how these look on the skin. And then one of my favorite lipstick lines, BK Beauty, has come out with new colors for the spring. This is absolutely probably the line of bullet lipsticks that I use more than any other. Actually, it absolutely is. I love the moisture content. I love the staying power. The color selections are just always spot on. So we'll swatch all of these today and pick one to wear with the look. I'm going to start out with the Dermatology. This is their #1 primer. I think that this is my favorite primer right now. It's kind of a gripping primer. Plus, it does seem to blur out my skin nicely. I just put a small little dot on my hand, and then that goes around the areas that I want to make sure my foundation lays down and stays. To prime under my eyes, it's the Beauty Pie Under Eye Genius. I just bought an under eye brightener from Catrice. Much lower price point. I don't know how good it's gonna be, but I thought we'd go ahead and try it and test it. I know a couple of people, I've seen shorts or videos where they say that the Catrice is a dupe for the Becca, and I know the Becca is something that people compare this to. So once that comes in, we'll give it a whirl and see how it compares. This is the MAC Paint Pot in the color Painterly. I'm just gonna put that on my lids as eyeshadow primer. Lucy is in here. You're gonna hear her. This is the Benefit Precisely My Brow, and I'm just gonna rough in my eyebrows to get started, and then I'll go ahead and do the detail work and finish them up at the very end. For eyeshadow today, I'm going to be using this palette from Milani. They sent this to me. I probably wouldn't have purchased it because it does have a lot of shimmer shades in it, and I'm not really a shimmer gal anymore. The reason I want to use it today is for this gorgeous lilac color right here in the corner. I'm going to do a very, very simple eye look, and this shade is so beautiful. I want to go ahead and give it a try today. This is the BK Beauty A503 brush. It's one of Angie's from her collection. I'm going to go ahead and dip this into the cream color right up here in the corner, and that's just going to lightly go underneath my brows to kind of highlight and bring that area forward. Now I'm going to take that same brush and dip it into this lilac shade. Oh, I just love this. It's so pretty. Tap it off, and then that's just going to go all over the movable lid and up into the crease. Okay, you guys, that color is absolutely gorgeous. I love it. I'm not really a big one for color on my eyelids, but that I think is so very pretty. Now it's time to jump into these new Sigma products. There's a blush, and it's Berry Love is the color. There is a bronzer. This is in the color Light, and then the highlighter is in Twilight. I haven't even opened these or swatched these or anything. Let's go ahead and swatch them now, and I'll try them on the face as well. The colors are looking beautiful. Okay, so here's how they look in the palettes. I think they're all very, very pretty. And here they are swatched. So this is the bronzer, very, very similar to the color of my hand. I think my hand probably has more sun on it than my face. This is the blush. I think that's beautiful, gorgeous berry color. And then look at that highlighter. Woo, that's really pretty. And oh my gosh, you guys. I forgot to put on the foundation. I guess I'm jumping ahead of myself today. I wanted to share this foundation because I've been wearing it probably as much as I have been wearing my Illuminance, which I absolutely love. This is the one from Revlon. This is really, really a gorgeous foundation. I think it rivals my Dior Forever Glow. This one is really, really pretty, and it has a unique finish to it. It's a lighter coverage than the Revlon. So sometimes I'll use this all over and then come in with Revlon and just do like my nose and my chin or areas that need a little bit more coverage. But watch how gorgeous this is when it goes on the skin. So this is what it looks like right here, and I'm just going to dot it around my face. This might be getting a little bit too light for me as I get a little bit more sun as the summer moves forward. But look at the little glow that it has on the skin. It is so very pretty, and just enough to give kind of an evening of tone, a little bit of texture, a little bit of coverage for dark spots, but it just gives such a pretty look on the face. You can see how light it is, so you don't have to worry at all about anything looking cakey or heavy or polka dot pores. It's just so very pretty. And can you see that beautiful glow that it puts on the skin? I love that. I'm just a sucker for a beautiful glowy foundation. So very natural looking. I think it's a great choice for summer. I'm going to put just a little bit more on the sides of my face and in the cheek area. And then take a look at my hand where I was putting it on my hand. Can you see that beautiful glow? It's so pretty. Blends in really easily. So look at that. Isn't that great? I really do like it quite a bit. It's an SPF 32. You guys know I'm not a huge fan of sunscreen, particularly, you know, the ones that are chemical sunscreens. But this one I think is really worth it to wear. I mean, it's such a pretty look on the skin. I'm going to go in with my Tarte Shape Tape Creamy Concealer. Still loving this one. Although I am thinking about picking up the Maybelline Under Eye Brightener. That's such a great little concealer. I kind of miss using that. So just a little bit underneath the eyes. Now I'm going to go in with my Kosas Cloud Set Powder. I'm going to press this underneath my eyes and then just hit a few areas on my face that I like to set down my foundation. So underneath the eyes. And then a little on my chin, the bridge of my nose, and a little bit on my forehead. I don't want to use too much because I don't want to cut down on the illuminance of that foundation. It's so very pretty. Now back in with my damp sponge, and I'm just going to press that powder in. And then I always go back in with my sponge before I use my setting spray and make sure that my under eyes are crease free. Now in with the Sigma. This is the bronzer, and again, this is in the color light. It says it's a matte bronzer, so I'm just taking my tapered brush right here, loading it up, and we'll just start defining the angles of the face. And always, for me, underneath my chin. It's a pretty color. Now for Berry Love in the blush. I'm excited about this. This is a pretty color in the pan. So nice pigment, goes on nice and smoothly. And I'm just keeping it to the upstairs area of my cheeks. So it kind of gives a little look of a lift. Now I'm going to go in with a big fluffy brush and just smooth that out. This is a BK Beauty brush. This is their 103 brush. So I'm just smoothing that blush out and blending it in. I like that color. What do you guys think? And now for the highlight. This is in Twilight. This looks really pretty. I love me a good highlight. Oh, that's pretty. What do you think? A little bit on the cheeks. A little bit of the front, on the tip of my nose. Oh, that's a pretty color. Now back in with that big fluffy brush again. I like the look of that. That highlight is so pretty. Now I'm going to curl my eyelashes, use the L'Oreal Voluminous Lash Base and the Perversion Mascara, and I'll be right back. Okay, makeup's done, hair's fluffed. Now for the exciting part, at least for me, trying on the new BK Beauty lipsticks. I'm going to go ahead and swatch them on my arm. I'm notoriously bad at this. Maybe I can get better this time. And then we'll pick the color that seems to go with this whole makeup look for today. This first one is the color Grace, which is after my own heart because that was my daughter's name. So there is Grace right there. Oh gosh, I just love the texture of these lipsticks. They're so creamy and yet they stay on. It's kind of a magical thing. This next one is called Beauty. Oh, I love this. All right, Beauty right here. Oh, isn't that pretty? That is such a great color for summer. So Grace and Beauty. Next up we have Gratitude. So right here. Oh, that's pretty. Oh my gosh, what a beautiful berry color. That's Gratitude. Grace, Beauty, and Gratitude. This one is the color Empower. This is a beautiful color. This is a warm red, kind of a tomatoey red. Oh golly, that is so pretty. All right, so that's Empower. You know, Lisa J, who is on YouTube and she's also on Instagram. She's very active on Instagram. She is the founder of BK Beauty and her color sense with these lipsticks is just spot on. This is the color Confidence. So let's put Confidence right down here. Oh, wow. So this is a bluer red, a cooler tone red. So we have the warm red here, the cooler red there. Isn't that beautiful? That is a gorgeous red. I love these lipsticks. I just do. And this last one is called Faith. So here we have Faith right down here. Oh, that's pretty. Isn't that a gorgeous selection of colors for the spring? So pretty. If you haven't used these lipsticks before, I can tell you they're a wonderful combination of perfect colors, hydration, moist, and yet they stay on, which is magical to me. So I really, really do love the formula. Now I have to decide which one am I gonna wear for today? Okay, I'm gonna pick this color right here, which is Gratitude. So here we have the color Gratitude. Isn't that lovely? So much fun. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. You guys know it just tickles me when you take a few minutes out of your day to spend it with me. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you. Again, I'm Kimberly. This is Pretty Over 50, where we talk everything beauty, fitness, and lifestyle for the over 50 woman. Make it a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.